All right, welcome in 11:08 on this Monday. Thank you for being here out last week, and all hell breaks loose at WPRO. Now, wait a minute. John Loughlin, who you listened to for years on Saturdays, 11 to 2?
11 to 2, yeah.
11 to 2. I was always listening. I was texting you half the time and getting a kick out of everything. If I'm in the car, if I'm in the kitchen. But you made a big announcement over the weekend. This is exciting for people who like politics, the sport of politics. God bless you. You said your wife is fine with it, but make your announcement here for the 9 to noon crowd.
The 9 to noon crowd. I am running for Lieutenant Governor of the state of Rhode Island. Very excited to be doing that. Very excited to be bringing a completely different perspective than we've had for 90 years.
Yeah.
In the State House.
Thank you. Listen, I first of all wish you a lot of luck. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of knocking on the doors and wearing down the shoes. But you have a lot of name recognition now.
This is not my first rodeo.
No, you have a lot. You have a lot of name recognition now. You've got obviously you have a built-in audience, or they wouldn't be listening. But what's the tactics that you're thinking of?
Well, right now, obviously, we're in the nascent stages. So I've got to lay out my case, basically, for why I should be our lieutenant governor. And that's going to involve, laying out my position on a ton of issues. I said to you earlier before we went on the air, I could spend the next 5 hours here going over issues because there's a ton of them. And there's a number of places where we're just not looking at the full picture. Energy, perfect example, right? If you open up your electric bill, you'll find all kinds of fun stuff in there that has nothing to do with the production and transmission of electric. For example, you have the Renewable Energy Growth Program. You've got the Renewable Energy Distribution Charges. You've got energy efficient charges. You've got gross earnings taxes. You've got LIHEAP. Now, if we took all of those things out of your electric bill and then just basically pass them as bills, make the General Assembly, our elected people's representatives, vote on each one as separate and apart from your electric bill drops by 20%. Now, if you want to drop it another 30%, remove the mandate that tells Rhode Island Energy where they have to buy energy from and just say you have to buy it from the least expensive in production and transmission cost, period. And you'll see another 30% drop in your electric bill.
So, okay, why are we not doing it?
Because we have this philosophy, this religion that we have to save the planet. And I ran the numbers on this. Communist China produces more CO2 in 1 month than Rhode Island does in a year. And it's not like they're going to say, well, Rhode Island went net zero. We better get our act together.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. We're just going to destroy our economy needlessly.
Now, you ran against David Cicilline, and I'm happy to point out that it was the closest anybody ever came to David Cicilline, right? In all his times that he ran. So that was, 2010?
2010. Yeah, that was 2010 in CD1.
Okay. And, sometimes you get a sting for like, wow, that was I put a lot of effort into it. But you, in your real life, are retired, right, from your careers. You obviously your Army career, and everything else. You're going to leave your Saturday show because you can't run for office and be on the air,
right? I mean, I could, but the charges in equal time would just be enormous. In fact, the entire rest of the broadcast day would be taken up with equal time.
Did you get a little mushy sentimental?
You know what? I got to confess, I had to pre-record my
your
swan
goodbye
song, my goodbye.
Okay.
And even as I was doing it, you remember Crystal Adams? Crystal sat in with me during the broadcast.
She did. Yeah,
and she was tearing
producer.
up.
And mine.
And then I saw her tearing up, and I started to tear up a little bit. And it was, I mean, this audience, and the audience kind of becomes like your family.
Yep.
That you talk to them every day, or in your case, every day. In my case, every Saturday. You get to know them. You hear what their struggles are, what their triumphs are, and they're like family. And a lot of so many people stop me and say, John, I listen to you every Saturday.
Yeah.
And now I've got to disappoint all those people.
Well, they probably, if they're your supporters, they want to see you help the state. And so that brings me to you've got an office of the lieutenant governors that's either been made fun of or, it's the whatever, the kid that, can't get in the game, can't play ball, with the tough kid. How do you wrap your arms around that office and make it something of substance?
Well,
or more substance. I don't want to degrade anybody who's there now.
Right. Because there's an old saying in the military, when in charge, take charge. Right. And because that office has no constitutionally defined mission, that gives me wide latitude to bring in and develop policies, to put those policies forward. A lot of people don't realize this. The lieutenant governor can actually draft legislation, can't introduce it. He has to bring it to in my case, the minority caucus, to have a minority rep actually sponsor it. But I can actually lead that policy debate. And if we have a Democrat governor, I'm happy to talk to him, happy to work with him. I worked with Democrats forever in the General Assembly, obviously.
Right.
And if they want to listen, great. If they don't, I'm a communicator. I've been communicating my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be like, Governor, you can listen to me now, or you can watch the press conference at 4. It's up to you.
Well, there you go. You mentioned energy, because I think everyone can relate to that. The texting line is going crazy. If somebody wants to call in, I have just this half hour with John, and you want to make your points here because it's a big decision on your part.
No, I'm happy to talk to you. You know, I love taking calls.
I know. What other glaring? I mean, we could be, like you said, we could be here for a week. But
there's a certain case of what we call Trump derangement syndrome in Rhode Island, amongst our Rhode Island Democratic population, not so much population, but our politicians.
Yes,
there is a program right now that could save kids in failing Providence schools. That was passed as part of the big, beautiful bill. It's not a voucher program, but it allows individual taxpayers to deduct up to $1,700 off their taxes by contributing to scholarship granting organizations, or what's called SGOs. And then they can provide scholarships for inner city kids to get them out of failed schools and into schools where they can actually become educated and learn and contribute to society. And we won't do it because it was Trump's idea.
Right. See, that stuff makes me crazy. And I had no idea. I don't know if you covered that on the show.
I did.
You did.
You missed that one.
I missed that one. I could have been on
the
beach.
With your busy vacation schedule, it's hard to.
No. See, now that, and right, if it's not our idea, or if it's the big scary man in the White House's idea, then you just don't do it at all.
Right.
Which makes zero sense.
And meanwhile, you were talking about it earlier in your broadcast, because I do listen every day. But you were talking about how, we go from 10-year plan to 10-year. How would you like to be the kid who knew that your schools were substandard, or the parents of that kid 10 years ago? Well, where's my 10-year plan? Meanwhile, I know my kid's trapped in a failing school, and there's nothing I can do about it. And the quality of your education shouldn't depend on your zip code. You should be able to avail these programs. The program's available right now, but we won't do it because Orange Man bad.
Right. I know. And I also said in the beginning of the show, I took this vacation and I met so many people. My husband's a magnet for people. I don't understand what's happening.
I think he's great.
You've met him.
Tell him I said hello.
I will tell him you said hello. Everybody wants to hang out with him. But we met people from all over the country, all over the world. But we're not all either Trump derangement syndrome, or we're not all MAGA people. The majority, and I think here in Rhode Island is a good little microcosm, we just want to live our lives, right? Happy, raise your kids, try to affordability, electric bills. Those are the fringy things. Those are the social media things. But they are also our Washington delegation, who they will not sign on board, and probably the local offices too. So if you have if you could, get in there and whip things up in the lieutenant governor's office. Now there's people all over the texting line saying, why won't he run for governor? All right. I thought the same thing myself. I said, I hope this isn't right. But now I'm starting to formulate I can almost see what your goal is. But you
here's the problem. In Rhode Island, there's a limited pool of Republican donors, period. And so in order to raise the amount of money that you need to, and when was the last time you saw a gubernatorial candidate accept matching funds? Because they exceed the limits.
Okay.
They can self-fund. Many of these, Helena Folks has got to be worth, I don't know how many gazillions of dollars. She was CEO, and God bless her for making her money.
Right.
She can write herself a check for $5 million and put it in her campaign account. How do you compete with that? Yeah. You can't. So if you're a middle-class guy like me who drives a 25-year-old pickup truck,
I've heard,
then you've got to be able to do it on your own. You've got to be able to do it with the help of, just everybody out there pitching in, raising the money, taking the matching funds, and doing the best we can. Now,
I would like to assume that the local Rhode Island GOP is 1,000% behind you.
I talked to Joe Powers, and I think it's early for them because they want to make sure that there are no primary candidates, and they've got to be fair to anybody who jumps into the race in the primary basis. So, they're not, they haven't been ready to endorse yet, but I think when we get to that point, we should be fine.
Everybody wants to get in on this. But I was looking at the Boston Globe article as well that mentions that you immediately become the Republican frontrunner.
Correct.
But you just said they're looking around. They can't waste
somebody
time,
else. They can't necessarily. And I understand the position of the party chair. They've got to be fair to anybody in the primary. So if somebody jumps into the primary against me, they can't pick a favorite. And I get that.
Right. Does it give you any pause to know that the last time you did this was 2010, so 16 years
I
ago?
think I'm better now. I'm sharper now. I'm better on the issues. I've learned more. I've taken the good lessons from that campaign and kind of fortified them. I know what I did right. I know
Right.
what I did wrong. And I think I'm going to run a much better campaign this time around.
Well, I think
And I was proud of my campaign in 2010, but I think we're going to do a much better job this time.
Well, I think the whole idea of I think people listening right now might be surprised to hear what you mentioned, that the lieutenant governor can put bills in through the caucus, right?
Right.
Not
You can
this is
draft a
John
bill. It
Loughlin's
typically
bill.
gets a stamp at the top that says lieutenant governor, and they lay them out in the caucus room for the either Republican or Democrat lieutenant governor, and individual members can pick up those bills, sponsor them, and put them in.
This current lieutenant governor is going to run again, Sabina Matos, the Democrat. I don't recall. Does she do that? Has she ever put in
really
legislation?
am not focused on Sabina Matos. I'm focused on the people of Rhode Island. I'm focused on getting the job done. I'm focused on bringing, like I said, we could do 5 hours. I've got so much material, so many ideas, so many good policies that we're overlooking for a variety of reasons. That's my number one focus.
And that entails you being able to almost like break the code here in Rhode Island. But listen, if it makes perfect sense to the majority of the taxpayers, because already the whole lineup that you did with the energy bills, that resonates. 14 billion over there at the State House.
It's insane.
I always say this doesn't resonate as hard as like my husband's CDL license. It literally $30 of it, whatever the fee was, $50, whatever it was, then $30 goes to the DOT, then $10 actually says miscellaneous.
Yeah, it's insane.
What does that mean? Miscellaneous. Where does it go?
And here's another point. And you've been like the only person I know that's really pushed this issue. Inspector General, an independent office of Inspector General. And so the Government Accounting Office, they basically kind of surveyed all of the governments. And they say, we figure roughly 7% goes to duplication, fraud, waste, and abuse. For us, that's $700 million a year.
Nice.
Back in our budget.
Oh my.
Why would we not do this?
I don't know. So will you transform the Lieutenant Governor's office to sort of mimic an Inspector General in a sense?
I mean, to the extent that we can. Certainly we'll operate a whistleblower line and we'll pass those tips on where they need to go. But the primary function is to get our arms around all of these issues and show Rhode Island, show our elected leadership, if it's a Republican governor or a Democratic governor, there's a better way to do things. And here's why.
Well, campaign wise, like if you had to formulate your card, right? What do you call that?
Oh, the palm card?
Something like that. Yeah, the palm card. Are you going to zero in on a couple of different things, or are you just like, do you have the messaging
I think
yet?
one of the things that I find most concerning, and I think the one thing that compelled me the most to get into this race, is we're leaving a generation of Rhode Islanders behind, those aged 20 to 30. When was the last time you heard somebody age 20 buying a house or age 22 buying a house? And so we've got to crack that code. And if we look across the other states, see, the Democrats in Rhode Island, they have one solution. If there's a problem, let's take more tax money and
try
pay
to
for
throw it at it.
We'll
right.
throw dollars.
Dollars, a lot of dollars.
About the dollars. But there are ways of doing it that have been done in other states that are absolutely fantastic that we won't even consider because we're going to throw dollars at it and take credit for it that way. Washington Bridge, I mean, like I said, I could go on and on.
I know.
My fear is what's going to happen is we're going to have this lawsuit. The bonding agents and the insurance companies are going to step up and say, all right, time out, state of Rhode Island, how big the check we have to write for you guys to go away? They'll write a check and they say, sign here. This is our confidentiality agreement. So nobody can talk about what went wrong on either side. And we go along with zero accountability, zero trust. And we have no idea, to Jessica Dela Cruz's excellent question, if the bridges we're driving over today are safe.
I 1,000%. And I think getting the idea out there that doing it the same old has gotten us what?
Right. 90 years of it.
$14 billion. I was talking to people from, I think it was Milwaukee, on vacation. And they said, don't you have the worst roads and bridges? And I'm thinking, come on.
Well, they get the beer. So.
I thought you were going to say, don't you have Newport? Don't you have, gorgeous food, beautiful beaches? They said, don't you have the worst roads and bridges? And I was a little taken back by that.
Yeah, I bet.
I was like, oh my God. Because I'll sit here and talk about it.
But
it's like not airing your dirty laundry while you're standing in a pool in Mexico.
Not to focus entirely on the negative, Rhode Island is an absolutely gorgeous state. We have incredible people. We've got a tremendous amount of talent. And we've just let things go. People don't realize that at one point we were Madison Avenue. We had the biggest ad agencies in the country. Chrysler Corporation was managed out of the Turk's Head building in Providence. We could regain that if we use some imagination. Governor Ayotte in New Hampshire, she's got a billboard campaign going to New York City and say, hey, businesses, if you don't want communism, come to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I mean, our office space, Class A office space in Providence, is about $30 a square foot. In Manhattan, it's $100 a square foot. We could make a very compelling case, but we can't go against a fellow Democrat, Mayor Mandami.
Right.
But we could make a compelling case to bring those business. We could turn Waybosset Street into Madison Avenue again.
But we just don't.
We can't because we don't want to offend Mayor Mandami.
All right, let me take a quick break because that's going to. Now I'm getting mad. I didn't know that was going on in New Hampshire. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back with John Loughlin. You listen to him every Saturday, but he's going to jump into the lieutenant governor's race and see if he can fix the state as much as possible. It's 11:24. All right, we've got a few minutes here left. John Loughlin running for, as a Republican, lieutenant governor.
Correct.
All
Correct
right.
Again.
Give me your last couple of minutes of.
Well, I
know
just
that
encourage everybody to join me in this fight. I mean, we have to figure out a way. We were talking about it earlier to a great extent of helping the generation from 20s to 30s get into a home and start families in Rhode Island. And we can do that. There's a number of states that have done this. We can do it as well. We can probably do it better because I'd like to think we're smarter than a lot of the other states. But that's got to be done. But in the meantime, if you want to join me on this fight, you can go to www.loughlin4ri.com. There's a contact form on there. I'm still one of these. I still get the Army thing in me where I get up at 4:30 every morning.
Wow.
And I'll go through all your messages, and I promise I'll answer everyone personally. So it's Loughlin4ri.com. Drop me a line, and let's get this thing going.
And may I just say it's LOUGHLIN.
Correct.
Sometimes you get an A in there.
Yes, I know.
All right.
Like the Air Force Base in Nevada.
Yeah. Well, I wish you the best of luck. A lot of listeners are wondering what's going to happen on Saturday. I don't have a clue.
Mm-hmm.
That will be worked out with management. And people are going to miss you. That's what they're all saying. I mean, the lines are flooded. What am I going to do on Saturdays now? I don't know. Shovel snow pretty soon and get out and help John if you want to. But, you know, listen, competition is competition. So if people want to get involved, they should go to the website and get involved.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, John, good luck with everything.
Thank you very much,
We'll
Tara.
miss you in this building for sure. Doing a little wave through the window.
I
see you recording things once in a while.
Uncle in the basement. I come up and do my weekend show and go back down in the basement.
Not true. Hey, listen, it's never easy to run for office, but I have high hopes for you.
The time is now to get this done.
Yeah, definitely. All right, John Loughlin running for lieutenant governor. I'm sure we'll be hearing from him again. And then when we come back, I know he's going to go, ugh. Well, you mentioned we have a beautiful state.
We do.
And
We're
boy,
doing the
does
housewife
it.
thing. I watched the trailer, and I've never
Doesn't it
seen
look
an episode.
nice?
It looks gorgeous.
I know.
So where's that place? I've never watched an episode in my entire life.
But
ever.
That's my point when we talked about marketing.
Yeah.
People are going to say,
I want to go there.
I want to go there. It looks so pretty. And who cares what the ladies do? If they ruin their own lives, God bless you. You know, don't lose your day job.
My daughters love that show, by the way.
Oh, you know what? It's like crack. It's just mindless rot. And I love it too. And they all look alike now, unless they have blonde hair or dark hair. I don't know. But they start to use the same stuff in their face. Mm-hmm. And they start to look alike. But if it brings eyeballs and dollars to Rhode Island, who cares? Who cares how they talk? All right, John, thank you. Appreciate you coming in studio.